Senior Day and Hall of Fame Day. Just to let you all know for your audiences, tickets are still available. Some of the inventory that had been held for Wake Forest is back available now. So look forward to having a large crowd there for our home finale this Saturday. As always, we'll start with opening comments to the head coach, or from the head coach, before we open up the questions in the room, and then finish with questions on Zoom. So, Coach, whenever you're ready, take it away.
All right, thanks, Ross. Good morning. Well, first of all, just want to offer up my thoughts and prayers for Colonel Ben Scard and his family. I just heard about that coming out of a meeting here, and didn't know that, but what a great man, and unbelievable life, and really just an honor to know him. So just thoughts and prayers with his family, and again, life well lived for sure. But we're excited about this matchup this week. It's good to be at home again, and hopefully this week, we coming off of a noon game last week. Hopefully that'll help our guys, really have a good week of preparation this week as far as just the routine, because it is a little different in getting yourself ready, your clock, and all those type of things to play at noon. Your everything's just ramped up. So I think that experience will be good for our guys. And last home game, we celebrate all year and work all year for these moments. 6, 7 games a year, and then we get the spring game, where we open up the Valley. So it's just a special place. It's an unbelievable environment to be able to do something that you love to do, and so really just excited to have another opportunity. I hope our crowd will come out and man, come Friday if you can, and pitch a 10 or something, and let's be ready to go on Saturday. This is going to be a great matchup. It's exciting for our guys, just a lot going on with Senior Day this week. You got some guys that have really had great careers and have made great contributions to this program over the last 4, 5, 6 years in some cases, and so taking an opportunity to celebrate them. It's always an emotional week. It really is. It's always a little bit sad too, because this is the last time you're going to get a chance for them to play in that stadium, and it's the last time for us as coaches to have a chance to coach them in that environment. And so their career's coming to an end, but it's also exciting because that they're well prepared. These guys that are here, 4 and 5 years. They walk out of here with a great foundation for life. So excited to be a part of that. I've got a son that's a part of it as well. So that's obviously a even added thing for me this week. And so again, just looking forward to a great day, a great crowd, and I think it's going to be a beautiful day. So should be a good one. Wake Forest, a heck of a team. It's pretty kind of speaks for itself. They've had a magical year. A really magical year. I think it's they've been able to stay relatively healthy. I think that's been obviously that's a key for everybody. They got a great roster. A bunch of 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6-year players that have been really well coached. They're well developed. Man, Dave has done an awesome job. He's become a friend. He and I have spent more time together over the last 2 years than probably any coach that I've been around. Whether mostly it's been Zoom and conference calls. So I've really gotten to know him on a much more personal level over the last couple of years, and he's just done a great job. He's done a great job from a leadership standpoint, and he just happened to have the unlucky straw. We rotate who the head coach chair is, kind of our coaches group. We kind of rotates, and he had the unlucky rotation of being the guy when 2020 hit. But he's done a wonderful job, and he's done a great job with his team. Unbelievably consistent there at Wake Forest. They do a great job of playing to their strengths, and they do a great job with their evaluation and a great job with their development. And I think that's a credit to Coach Clausen, the job he does, the staff he does. Defensively, they're a good defense. Their stats don't tell the story. This is a good defense. They do a lot of good stuff. They play hard, they're very well coached up front. They move around. So we've got to play well, especially if you look at us and how we're structured right now offensively. You don't have a single senior starting for you with Ross out. We only have 2 juniors starting for us in Davis Allen and McFadden because Putnam's reclassified as a sophomore, and everybody else is freshman and sophomore. So we're still in a little bit of a development stage. We're going to start a true freshman at receiver, a true freshman at receiver, a true sophomore at receiver. We got another true freshman in there at tight end with Davis, and a couple of freshman backs and a sophomore back. You got Trotter and Rayburn, first-year guys really getting a chance to play. First-year starter at quarterback, so a lot of new pieces there. This is kind of a game of strength on strength if you look at it. We've been really good on defense. They've been really, really good on offense. We've been inconsistent offensively and not a lot of continuity throughout the year. But both groups have made some strides, their defense, our offense. So I think it's a good matchup. But, they do some good stuff, man. They turn the ball over. They've got 13 different guys on their defense that turn the ball over who have created a turnover. That kind of jumps out at you. They do a great job with their scheme. They know how to execute it. Good matchup there. And then offensively, they're a handful. They're a handful with what their scheme. Their scheme is different. It's unique, and that creates some challenge. We're fortunate that we play them every year. I think that's a positive for us as opposed to some teams that don't see them every year because it is different. It is unique. But at the end of the day, it comes down to the experience they got. They got 96% of their team back from last year offensively, and they're really good. They know how to play. They know how to execute. The quarterback is a savvy, relentless competitor. He's a great leader. Their offensive line has a ton of cohesion. They really understand what they're doing. They play really, really fast. They play really fast. They don't do a lot of motioning and things. They line up and they go. The ball gets snapped quick. They've got 3 running backs that are all good players. They rotate them all. They got 2 tight ends that are really good players. But it's this quarterback and that offensive line, the cohesion of that offensive line, and then it's these receivers. These are the best receivers that we've played as a group all year. As a group and fundamentally and technically, how they play. They lead the country in passes of 30-plus yards. They're number 1 in the country, so tons of big plays through the pass game, whether it be just making competitive plays on the ball or double moves. They put a lot of stress on you coverage-wise because of how they force you to play with their scheme. So we got to do a great job outside. We got to win matchups. It's not real complicated. You got to win. You got to win on the ball. Simple as that. Our linebackers got to do a great job, sorting through the RPO stuff, and our defensive line has to play really well. We've got to be disruptive up front. We can't let them get in rhythm, and that's a huge key to this game. But they do a great job, again, across the board. They're the only team in the country to score 35-plus points every single game. So very consistent in what they do, regardless of who they play, regardless of the style of defense that they see. They've been really, really consistent. And, again, it goes back to this quarterback, his total control of the offense, the cohesion of the group up front, and then their big play capability outside. A lot of big plays. And you go to sleep on these backs, they'll bust you because, they're all 3 good. So it's a good group, a good matchup. Their kicker is, I think he's going to leave as the most accurate guy in the history of the NCAA. I think that's a fact. He's like 89% in his career, and if he finishes out that way, I think he could be actually the most accurate guy ever in the history of the NCAA. Did I say NFL? I don't know if I said that or not, but he's going to the NFL. So just a good group, man. Good team, and not very shocking, that they've been able to have the success they've had. So it should be a great matchup. Obviously, they're in control of their destiny from a division standpoint. For us, man, we're trying to stay alive. So we're a wounded dog on the side of the road, man. We need a little help, but we're still alive. We're still alive. So this is a huge game for a lot of reasons, and giving us, because at the end of the day, you just want to have a chance, and we have fought back, and I'm proud of our team. We've won 5 out of 6. We've won 3 in a row. These kids have competed their butts off all year. Hadn't always been pretty, but they've played to the last play every single game, and have been in position to win every game. So just really proud of our team, their will to win, and want to see them finish well.
Speaking of wounded dog, I don't. Have you updated Sergio Allen? What happened with him?
We got a great report on him. We were not very optimistic with him, but it turned out it was not. It was more his. They thought it was his knee. It was more like a ligament that comes up from your calf or something, and so that was a real positive. And his ankle, he rolled his ankle pretty bad too. So, but he's going to heal up. So we were really, really fortunate because it did not look good on the field. So that was a blessing. We didn't know till Sunday when they got the MRI back.
He said Justin will be out.
Yeah, Justin's out, and it's, probably going to go ahead and do surgery Thursday. And, let me just say this about Justin, and this is it's just who he is. I mean, this kid, so he right before we played Georgia, I know there was a lot of rumors saying he broke his foot or whatever, and he didn't break his foot. He had a very, very, very slight hairline area near his 5th metatarsal. Not something that, like broken foot, you go put it in a cast, type of deal. But he had a very, very thin deal, which when I first heard that, I was like, oh man, that's not good. He's going to be out for 4 or 5 weeks, or 3 to 5 weeks, fix it. But he was like, I think I can play, and the doctors felt like he could play or at least try it. And I said, well, we'll just have to see where he is. And so he really only hurt. He hurt the Georgia game and the South Carolina State game. And outside of that, because he was on the bone stimulator and all this, he did all of his treatment. He's been treating all year. He's had no problems. I mean, it's amazing. It is amazing that he was able to go play 10 games. So, and just that one last play, because he's played with a plate in his shoe and different things, and he's not really had any issues. He rolled his other ankle. That's about the only other issue that he's had. But that one play, it was a great play, and there was a bunch of guys around him, and he just tweaked it just a little bit. So where we are now, I mean, and we may wait and see where he is Monday, and just see if he's better, maybe can finish. But right now our plan is to probably go ahead and do it. Unless we're going to see where he is tomorrow. So. Because he's going to have to they'll just put a little screw in there, and he'll be fine in a few weeks. But one of the worst days of my coaching career, since I've been a coach since 1993, was the day that the doctors showed up in my office unannounced, and we had to get Justin and his mom and tell him that it's most likely he's not going to play football anymore. That was a bad day. It's just etched in my mind forever. Man, I'm just so thankful for Dr. Okonkwo. I'm just so thankful that there's people like that on this planet. Because most of the doctors said you can't play. That's what all these doctors. He's done. I won't clear him, never play, shut him down. And then this guy, Dr. Okonkwo, who was the doctor with Shazier or whatever from the Steelers, he's like, I'm not. I think that's the easy answer. I'll never forget the first conversation I had with this guy when he was getting ready to do the surgery. He was like, he said, it's good likelihood he won't play. I would say it's maybe 50-50, but I'm not ready to say that. I think there's a path. And I memean, and I remember going up there and he had his surgery, and I met with him after surgery. I said, well, how'd you do? Was it 7-5, 6-6, 10-2? And he's like, 15-0. And I was just like, wow. He said it was great. Everything went great, and if he'll just do what I asked him to do, it's still an uphill battle, and I'd say it's 50-50, but I think he's got a chance. And so for 18, 19 months, watching this kid go through what he went through, and I mean, this is Justin Ross, man. I mean, this isn't, Dabo Swinney's career being shut down. I mean, this is a guy that is capable of playing at the highest level, and man, it was just again one of the worst days of my coaching career, and then one of the greatest days of my coaching career is watching him return to play. And I told him that after the Georgia game, because he made a couple mistakes in the Georgia game, and I told him, I said, hey, I'm just thankful you were here to make those mistakes. And what a blessing. So one of the greatest blessings of my life has been able to watch Justin Ross play football for the last 10 games, and to watch him practice, to watch him prepare, watch him compete. And man, I'm just thankful. I'm just thankful. And then I when we got that news before the Georgia, I'm thinking, God, you got to be kidding me. This kid's not going to be able to play. That was my first thought. And then not only did he play, but he played well. And in the last 3 or 4 games were his best games. And he had some doubt. He had some fear, that he had to push through and overcome coming off of, 19 months of not playing football. And not only did he play 10 games, man, he's flying around the field. He's leaping, jumping, flipping, blocking, and what his commitment to this team, his commitment to this university and this program, I mean, it's been amazing to watch. And so if that's his last play, I'm thankful. I'm thankful that he's able to come back and play, and again, play 10 games and show everybody what he can do and get his confidence where it needs to be, and now we'll get him well and go from there. But he's definitely out.
Skalski, some of the others.
Skalski will be fine. Ennis is limited right now, so Brenny's got to go, and he's been making a lot of progress and excited about his development. Obviously, we got Shipley and Kobe back. That's a big shot for us, and gonna get Putnam back, so that's a big plus for us too. He's missed a couple of games, so getting him back going will be a positive as well. So we're gonna need everybody, and we got to go play well. But we got some young guys in some spots that got to step up, and we got to do a great job getting them ready.
How's DJ feeling at this point? Are you going to limit him at all?
He looked good last night. He looked good. So I mean, he's got to go play. DJ? Yeah, practice. Absolutely.
Did that cause any?
Yeah, he did. He did bang his hand, but he's fine. I mean, he's no problem. Practiced yesterday. Looked good. Tyson was sore yesterday. He did not practice, so hopefully he can ramp up each day. But he's working through a little bit of that shoulder issue. But it was mild, but he's a quarterback, so he's got to work through that, and I think he'll get better. But we'll see where he is by Wednesday, Thursday.
You mentioned senior day and your son being part of it, a unique experience for you. Have you allowed yourself to kind of put yourself in that moment and what it might be like for you and your family when your son comes rolling down?
Well, it'll be special. It's always special, because I look at every one of these guys as my son, and that's how you look at them. I mean, I try to coach them that way, and love my guys. And man, these guys that come down that hill, because I know they're going to be graduates, number one. That's what everything in this program is about, graduation. And, you'll have a couple of guys that are graduating that may have eligibility left, but they probably won't be here next year. But, man, they've earned the right to be honored as seniors because they're graduating. And I'm proud of that, and that's what we celebrate here. But, yeah, for me, it's a special, even more special with Will because he's literally grown into a man on that field, like literally. On that he has grown from a little bitty boy to a great young man on that field. And you talk about a kid who loves this university, who loves this program, who lives and dies and always had with every game, as coaches' families do. It's just been awesome. He's a great student. He's going to graduate with his MBA this summer. It's been one of my greatest joys, because he's a grinder. He just loves to compete. He loves to work to be his best. He's just an incredibly committed kid in every aspect, and super proud of him. And same thing with Drew. And his day will come as well next year or the year after, depending on whatever he decides to do.
With McFadden, is he planning on coming back, or have you heard?
He's going to come back. Yep. So he'll be our only senior next year. He and Davis. It's crazy. I mean, it really is. When you look at, we literally have one senior. No seniors starters, and we have two juniors in Davis and McFadden. It's the craziest thing I've ever been a part of. So you got 5 offensive linemen that are out for the year, 5 receivers, scholarship receivers that are out for the year. Obviously Galloway as a tight end. Had a couple backs move on. So it's been a crazy year from there's really nothing. It's just, and most of the injuries happen in games. We've had some really crazy things, but it's going to pay off for us because we got a lot of guys, that's going to be back, and plus we're going to add on. So we'll have a lot more of an experienced group offensively next year, and we're going to have a very experienced group defensively again next year too. Because we got a lot of guys that have played and a lot of guys coming back defensively that I'm really excited about. Our secondary, we got a bunch of those guys back, and we got some guys coming in that are going to really help us. We got most of those D linemen are back, so XT and will obviously be moving on, and hopefully KJ and Mask will be back, but they might be guys that have to make a decision depending on what their grade is and stuff like that. But we got a lot of guys that have really benefited from some experience this year that I think will serve us well.
Dabo, there was a time when that slow mesh Wake Forest didn't work very well against you guys because those defensive line just collapsed it. Do you feel like your guys can sort of change the line of scrimmage in that fashion?
Well, I hope so. But you also, they've had a group of young guys that are now, more experienced players. They got a quarterback that really has bought into what they do. I think that's a part of it. He's not a guy that hates what they do. He loves what they do. And I think everything kind of feeds off of that. And then they've just had a lot of consistent success, and so that just kind of breeds confidence in it. But, that's the battle. We got to win the line of scrimmage. They got to win the line of scrimmage. If they're going to beat us, they got to win the line of scrimmage. And they got to win the competitive plays. If we're going to win, we got to win the line of scrimmage. We got to win the competitive plays. That's what this game comes down to.
You said Will Putnam reclassified as a sophomore, so if you had a discussion with him about it's going to be another 2 years, have you figured out 2022 to 2023 recruiting in terms of who's going
No,
back?
nobody's figured out that. There's not a coach on the planet that's figured out recruiting. Are you kidding me? No, that's what he's expressed to Robbie, is that he's one of those guys that wants that year back. And he played, he had played a little bit as a freshman. So I think he wants that the opportunity to have that year, which is great. You know, we certainly would love that, but there's nobody that's figured out 23 recruiting. There's very few that have figured out 22. We feel like we're in a good place, you know, roster-wise right now, where we sit and who we're recruiting. You know, our numbers, we're going to be right there. Like for example, our number in the OL is 15. You know, we're going to right now we'll probably sign 2 guys. We're going to be at 15. We'll be right at our number. You know, but something could change next week. Something could change tonight in college football. So, you know, it's fluid in recruiting. Nobody's got it figured out anymore as far as where you can project, okay, our 23 class, here's where we're, because you got a couple issues. You don't know how your current roster is going to shape out, because you could pretty much say, okay, you might have an attrition of a couple at a place like Clemson, but it's different now, and it's different everywhere. That's one issue, and the other issue is you got COVID, you know, all the way through, is it 24 or 5, whatever year it is, that you've got to manage that because we don't get any relief. Everybody's got to count. This year it didn't matter, right? You know, so all these guys, Skowski, they didn't count against we had 92 scholarships or whatever. But next year, if somebody comes back for a COVID year, they got to be in your 85. So how do you know? It's kind of hard to go to a guy and say, hey, in December of 23, do you think you're going to want to come back? You know, are you kidding me? These kids don't know where they're going to, which pizza place they want to go to this weekend. You know, I mean, it's a crazy world. I've never in my life thought I would experience anything like it. When I first got into coaching, we didn't offer anybody till like January. You didn't sign anybody till January of their senior year. That's it. You know, you never knew. I mean, nobody committed either. There were no commitments. You just kind of recruited, and so you'd have to recruit all these guys, and then you'd figure it out in January. That's when you'd figure it all out. And so it's just very different now because, and then you have, with the transfer portal, you have all these high school kids because they're getting pushed to the side because a lot of schools aren't going to sign high school kids, which is sad. A lot of schools aren't going to sign them. And so now you have all these high school kids that are trying to be mid-years so that they can have spots, because you have some coaches that go, okay, well, man, I can sign this kid right here out of the portal. He can be here in January. If I sign this high school kid, he can't come to the summer. So now you got all these high school kids trying to be mid-years so that they don't get, you know, they can compete with the portal. So it's a wild world. You know, like, you know, we're going to probably have, I don't know, 12 to 14 mid-years that'll show up here in January. That's what's coming in here. Then we'll have a few guys that'll show up in the summer, but most of them are mid-years now. And again, that's going to be more and more and more and more because the high school kids want an opportunity to compete with kids coming out of the portal. So nobody's figured it out. It's a daily fluid situation.
I didn't draw the short straw to ask you about the transfer portal this week, I promise. But people are under the assumption that you've said, I will never use it, I don't want to use it, but you've never said that.
I've never said that.
And if you ran into a situation where you lost an offensive lineman in the spring, but a perfect situation, a fifth-year graduate that would come along that maybe fit, that wouldn't disrupt it.
Yeah, there's not a school in the country that's not going to have to recruit the portal. That's what's been created. There's not a school anywhere. Everybody is, you know, in Division I football is going to have to deal with the portal some form or fashion because you're going to have gaps in your roster, you know, somewhere. Because, you know, again, they have until May 1 to say, hey, I'm out. And that's the world we've created now. You know, it's just, that's the way it is. I mean, I don't like it, but that's the way the world is. You just deal with it. But they have until May 1. So you have guys leave after spring or in the spring semester. The next thing, you're going to have mid-years leave. You know, you're going to have mid-years show up at all these schools. And they go, I don't like it. Dang, I'm third team. Oh, Matt drills. They yelled at me. They're going to leave. So guess what? There's no high school kids to sign in May. Where are you going to get high school kids in May? There aren't any. They didn't exist. And so there's no barriers anymore in college football. There's no reason for pause. There isn't. It's just, ready, shoot, aim. There's none of that anymore. So you don't have any other choice now. So I don't think we'll deal with it like everybody, but we won't be as affected as a lot of these programs, because just who we are. I mean, it'll still be different for us, and hopefully we don't have to. But we're not going to just do it to do it. It's got to be strategic. It's got to be the right fit. It's got to be the same criteria and things like that. And I think, too, kids that are going in the portal, they want to go be starters. Nobody wants to come be the third-team running back at Clemson. If you know of any of those guys, let me know. All right? They want to come be the fourth-team running back at Clemson. Let me know who those guys are. The grad transfer. There ain't many of those. Most kids are in the portal, and that's the sad part. You're going to have a lot of kids in the portal, and they're not going to – there's nowhere for them to go. And so, but that's where we are, and there's not a single school in America that won't have to deal with it. So when it happens, it'll be one of the greatest days in the history of Clemson. When we, Grace will love it. She'll write a great article about our first ever portal. We'll track his DNA, and we'll meet his aunt and uncles, and it'll be the greatest moment ever. And he better be a player.
Tony was saying yesterday one of the unfortunate parts of players deciding to leave during the season is that they can just sort of, there doesn't even have to be a conversation with the coach. They can just go straight to compliance.
Yep.
And has that been the case here where you haven't had
Peace out. Nice knowing you.
to even talk to them?
I've talked to all my guys. Yeah, I've talked to all these guys. And it's just, they just want a different opportunity, and they want to have time to figure it out because they want to be somewhere in January. So that's going to happen every day between now and the end of the season. Somebody's going in the portal. Every day, somewhere, every day. And eventually people are going to even quit just commenting on it because it's the norm. There'll be kids that'll go in the portal after 2 games. There's going to be kids that go in the portal that are playoff teams. It's just the way it is. It's the world. It's an unintended consequence, but that's what we're dealing with.
So just to button up what David was asking again, you're not ruling out, as you say, every school in the country will have to be impacted by the portal. You're not ruling out the potential of bringing.
I've never ruled it out. I've just said we've not had to use it. We've not had to use the portal. We've not had a need. We've been at our number. And so, it's not been a need for us. But this is the first cycle where like anytime in the past when we've known guys that were leaving, and we've addressed it in the recruiting on the front end. Like we knew. Whereas, like last year, I knew Niles and Jordan were leaving. I knew, some of these things, but you address it. But this is again the first full cycle where there is nowhere to address it. And I've actually, I signed a quarterback from Stanford. I don't know if y'all remember that. Everybody said he was going to come in here and win the job. I told him up front, you're going to be my scout team quarterback. I need a scout team quarterback. I need a 4th team guy. And he wanted to get back to South Carolina. So, there was no portal, but he was a grad transfer that came in here, and he was awesome. At that time, he was thinking about getting into coaching. He wasn't looking to come in here and be the starter at Clemson. He wanted to come in here and be a part of our program, learn our culture. He was thinking about being in coaching, and he was great. He was awesome. And he'd had great experience out at Stanford as a backup guy. So again, I think the worst thing you can do is you get a guy that's not good enough to be a starter for you, and you're not on the same page there. So that's the only grad guy. And we've had guys walk on. We've had lots of guys that walk on here throughout the year that graduate from other places, or they transfer to Clemson and they try out and they want to walk on. We've had a bunch of those type of kids. But yeah, everybody's gonna have to use it at some point.
Is there anybody you've coached that, I guess, when you watch A.T. Perry on film for Wake, that sort of is a good comparison there?
Man, he's long. He's explosive. He's got a ton of wiggle to him. I mean, he's got a little T. Higgins in him. You know. I just he is really developed, man. I mean, he is a really good player. Really good player. I think he was 89 last year, and now he's in 9. Man, he's just we've had some guys that he's similar to in a lot of aspects, but he's just long, fast, excellent ball skills, but he's very maneuverable. You know, he's got great quickness, great lateral ability, explosive out of his cuts. You know, you don't see many big guys that can do that. So I just think he's an excellent player. 5 is a really, I mean, 9 averages 20 yards a catch. I think 5 averages about 17 yards a catch. You know, so that's 2 first downs every time they touch it. And then, man, you better not sleep on that daggum 83. He's a baller. He led them in receive. He had 9 catches on us last year and a touchdown. I mean, he's a really good player. A really good player. Very crafty. He's more of the slot, you know, the inside guy. He's going to catch some of those inside routes and ball control routes, but he's really good at the top of his route, you know, at his break points and creating separation. Very good with his influence. He's good. He's a good little player. Good player.
You said that when you watch games sort of casually, you like to study what the offenses are doing and really interested in that part of it. With the spread so ever present in the last however many years, 5, 10 years, is what Wake Forest is doing the closest thing to cutting edge is out there, or?
I mean, it's triple option football. That's all it is. I mean, it's just triple option. They're triple option like Louisville. Louisville has their own unique pistol triple option type of attack, and Wake has their own unique triple option type of attack because there's a lot of decision making going on. So, I mean, it's different. It's different, but they got all the spread components. They just do it in a way, and most spread teams have option principles, you know, built into it. You know, especially if you got a quarterback that's can run, you know, because it's handoff, it's run, it's pull, it's pass. I mean, you got a lot of things going on, and that's been going on for quite a while now. But Wake's just unique in their approach. So again, that's why I'm glad we play them every year, because it's triple option. There's a lot that can happen on one play, a lot. You know, from the handoff to the quarterback run to next thing you know, there's a post route over the top of you. There's a lot involved. So just, you know, you got to play with option principles defensively.
How many different guys is he reading?
Several. I mean, you know, when you're just walking, you can put your eyes on multiple things. There's plays where he's got a guy over here and a guy over here that he's looking at. And the biggest thing is he just knows where everybody is. And you know, they're guys, they do a great job. You know, they don't really go to the second level very much. You don't really see that. They're pretty much at the line of scrimmage. You know, they build a wall, and they don't really come off, you know. So what do you know, if you bring, unless you plug a backer, and he's just got time to kind of see all these things. And so you have to disrupt that. You have to disrupt it. You have to take away the easy access throws, and you know you got to win that matchup up front. You can't let him have. I mean, there's times where it's 4+ seconds or more that he's got the ball, and that's, you know, when I was coming up, if you didn't have that ball going by 1.8 seconds, maybe 2.4, your butt was on the ground, and so, you know, that's kind of where football's always been played, and they've changed that to where if you really look at it, I mean, there's times where he's got the ball 4+ seconds. And so it's unique. It's very unique.
Yeah, but one of the goals every year is to win the division. That obviously can't happen unless you guys take care of business this weekend. Is that part of the
Correct.
conversation you're having with the guys this week?
I thought you were going to say, obviously, that can't happen. I was going to correct you. So you were absolutely correct with the finishing of that sentence there. Yeah, we got to win. Like I said, we're a wounded dog on the side of the road. We need some help, man. We need somebody to pick us up and bandage us up, give us some new life. As I mean, we're still alive. We're still alive, but if we don't win this game, we're not. If we win the game, it's going to go all the way down to the last day. But so that's certainly a part of this game. We want to finish 6-2 in the league. That would be a great finish for this team. I mean, this would be 6 out of 7. This would be 4 in a row. This would be. I mean, we've talked about the seniors, man. We haven't had back-to-back senior classes leave Clemson undefeated since 1940, 1941. And that's one of those things you go, like, you just go, wow. Like, that's a long time, I mean, Robbie Caldwell wasn't alive in 1940, 1941, all right? That's a long time. That's a long time. I mean, and you know why it's a long time? Because it's hard to win. There's a reason why it's been since 1940, 1941. Back-to-back senior classes rolling out of here undefeated. We could have 5 years in a row without losing a game at home. I mean, there's a lot of opportunity in this game. This is again, the best we can be is 9-3, and you can't win 9 until you go win whatever 8. Okay, so but definitely the division is still out there for us. If we don't take care of business, they'll be the division champs, and so we gotta. And if we take care of business, they still got a chance, But they got to go do it, and we'll be done. We'll be 6-2, and that'd be a heck of a finish for this group with the type of season that we've had and the amount of challenges these guys have had to deal with. Proud of them, man. Their will to win has been awesome all year. This team, I mean, it's been a fun team. I've really enjoyed them, and I love these seniors. And you just, what a cool thing to be able to walk off the field, and say you never lost a home game. That's pretty cool. In college football, there's not many people that can say that. That's really, really hard. And I think the 40-41 team, I think they only played like 2 home games a year. Literally. I mean, Bray can tell me. I think they were building Death Valley, and I guess they needed money, so they played a bunch of away games or something. And they only played like 2 home games a year. So, not to take anything away from the 1940-41 group, but I think they only had to go 8-0 or something like that. This bunch has had to win a bunch of them. It's been pretty cool.
In the spirit of me writing random stories, your Monday night call-in show when Becky from Gaffney is upset about the
Bubble
play
Becky?
calling, and someone else is upset about the odd fronts defensively. Just what is that part of your job like at 8 p.m. on Mondays?
Oh, I look forward to it. I love talking to. I mean, I get I have my every week callers. Do y'all listen to that? It's riveting radio. Y'all have to listen, right? That's what's great. Y'all have so much better things to do on Monday night, but you have to listen because you just don't know what scoop you're going to get on the Monday night radio show. Isn't that right, Qualt? I mean, if you miss it, then your fans are mad at you because you didn't get it on Tuesday morning or whatever. So I love the fact, Grace, that you are somewhere sipping on a glass of wine on a Monday night listening to the call-in show. It's riveting radio.
Is that unique, though, you think, to college sports and just like this dynamic?
Yeah, well, I mean, at the end of the day, it's about, you have to engage with your fans. I mean, you're not going to always, very seldom will you agree with your fans. I mean, this is what I do for a living every day. But I think that's what makes college football fun. That's what makes it unique. I've always enjoyed that. I love conversation. I don't have any problem with questions or whatever. But you know, I got my usuals. You know, Lester, you can count on Lester. You can count on Billy, and his wife in the background. Go Tigers! You know, we're gonna get Michael. I'm gonna get a couple kids, you know, from time to time, and I got North Star Tiger from Minnesota. I mean, I got all kind of people that call in. I love it. I enjoy it. And then you get some good questions, and it's just good to have conversation, you know, with your fans and to be accessible. Now I've always tried to do that as much as I possibly can. So it's good. I enjoy it.
I think some of it could be some of us just maybe acting like we're one of those guys.
Probably. It's probably no question y'all have your you know, somebody's contracted with Becky, and Becky, ask him this. And then you get the little boy, the 11-year-old kid coming in, and you know the dad's going, ask him this. Like, why do this? So you get all that. But I enjoy it. And I enjoy you guys, believe it or not. I like all y'all. Everybody's got a job to do. You know, occasionally I get a little frustrated with you when I don't think you're fair, but, you know, I think it's good.
Speaking of fair, you voted in the top 25 polls in the past. I know you really don't care, but would you vote Clemson as a top 25 team? 7 wins.
Absolutely.
5 out of 6.
Absolutely. No question. I didn't vote this year, though. That's the first time in my head coaching career I opted out. I opted out of that. 13 years of doing that, you know, because, you know, all the drama last year. That was just a distraction from my team that, you know, based on what I felt. So just something I could just eliminate, because it don't matter anyway. Who cares?
Do you feel like that people are maybe, hey, Clemson's down, why would this team not be getting votes even?
I mean, I think it just comes with who we are as a program, and, you know, nobody wants to give our opponents any credit. I mean, Georgia's pretty good. They're pretty good. I mean, I think we played them pretty good. Probably scored the fewest. Only scored 3 points on us. We scored the other 7. NC State, pretty good. Pretty good team at their place, double overtime. You know, Pitt, they're pretty good at their place. Had our chance to win it. You know, so I think it's more Clemson stinks as opposed to the opponents are good, and I think that's just something that just kind of comes with who we are as a program. But whether that's fair or not, I just think, you know, we've lost to some good teams that were better than us that day.
Any questions for Coach from Zoom? Anything else from anybody in the room? All right, thank you, Coach.
Okay. All right.
I do too.
I can see her right now. She's in her pajamas going, oh, my God, I have to watch this. I have to listen to this. This is the worst radio in the history. Bourbon, yeah.